Ethan was a man who felt like his life was running in circles. Every morning, the first thing he touched wasn't his wife's face or a glass of water. It was a glowing, rectangular screen. Ethan worked as a freelance graphic designer, but his concentration was shattered. He could sit in front of his computer for 8 hours, but only truly work for 30 minutes. The rest? It was wasted, jumping from one short video to another, reading comments from strangers he didn't know, and comparing his simple life to the luxurious lifestyles of creators on his screen. Ethan felt his brain was always hot, but his soul felt cold. He was easily irritated, struggled to sleep, and always felt anxious for no clear reason. He felt like an addict who didn't realize he was consuming digital poison every single second. The breaking point came when Ethan lost his biggest project because he missed a deadline. Not because he didn't have the time, but because he was too busy watching other people's lives, until he forgot to build his own. That night, in the darkness of his room, Ethan stared at the reflection of his face on the black phone screen. He saw a man who looked exhausted, with bloodshot eyes and an empty expression. He realized one thing. He wasn't using technology. He was being colonized by it. His brain was the most expensive asset he owned, and he had given it away for free to an algorithm that only wanted to keep him weak and distracted. Without a grand plan, Ethan took a small action that felt incredibly heavy. He put his phone in a desk drawer, locked it, and gave the key to his mother. He asked her not to give the key back for any reason for 30 days. Ethan called it the Great Reset. The first week felt like physical torture. Ethan felt restless. He repeatedly reached for his pocket by reflex, searching for the device that usually gave him instant dopamine. He felt so bored he wanted to scream. But in the middle of that boredom, a small miracle began to happen. Because there was no screen to look at, Ethan started to notice the dust in the corner of his room and began to clean it. He started to hear the birds in the morning that he had ignored for years. He started to read the books that had only been decorations on his shelf. Slowly, the fog in his head cleared. Ethan began to be able to work for 4 hours without looking at his phone even once. His focus returned. He started to design things that were much more alive, deeper, and had a soul. Something that cannot be produced by a brain constantly fed with digital trash. He realized that all this time, he didn't lack time. He only lacked control over his own attention. 3 months later, Ethan was no longer the same man. He returned to the digital world, but this time as a master, not a slave. He only used his phone for productive things. His friends at his old office were amazed to see Ethan's productivity skyrocket. They asked, "What's your secret? What new tool are you using?" Ethan only smiled calmly. He no longer needed a stage to scream about his success. He answered shortly, "I just stopped giving my attention to things that gave me no value. I chose to become the rightful owner of my own thoughts again." Now, ask yourself, who is actually in control of your hand right now? This world is designed to keep you thirsty, but never give you real water. They want you to feel not enough, so that you keep searching for answers inside a screen. Yet, the answer you seek is not in there. It is in the silence you have been avoiding all this time. Don't wait for your world to crumble before you pause. You don't need to move to the mountains or throw away all your belongings. You only need to be brave enough to become irrelevant to the algorithm for a few hours every day. Let them lose your trail. Let them be confused because they can no longer dictate what you should want. Your focus is the most valuable currency of this century. If you don't guard it, others will spend it for their own interests. Enter your own version of a reset room right now. Turn off the noise, not because you hate the world, but because you love your inner peace. True victory is not when you have many followers, but when you have full control over where your attention goes. Build your foundation in the quiet and let your results speak with the loudest voice. Turn off your screen for a moment and start living for real.